late last night, early this morning, we got some big conference realignment news, specifically that 4 Mountain West Conference schools are leaving to help remake the Pac-12. The reports initially surfaced last night that it was maybe moving this direction. Now it's already official. These schools have applied for membership to the Pac-12. It will be accepted. This is happening. The schools are Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State. They're going to join the only 2 Pac-12 holdovers, Washington State and Oregon State. They're going to do it in 2026, but that still only makes 6 members. You need 8 to be an FBS conference. That's according to the NCAA. So the Pac-12 is going to need to add at least 2 more members, and that's where this gets interesting for us, I think, because CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd tweeted the following at 12:47 a.m. Central. Quote, don't count on Stanford and Cal to fill out the Pac-12 dance card. They're not likely to risk the legal wrath of the ACC after playing only 2 games. Instead, think of AAC schools west of the Mississippi like UT San Antonio and Memphis. Now, first things first, Memphis obviously is not west of the Mississippi. West Memphis is.
That's correct.
West Memphis is, but the city of Memphis is technically east of
close
east,
enough.
But you get the point.
We're right there.
Right there. It's like, I mean, right there. You can hit,
I could cross that river in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I could hit a driver.
It's all good.
If I had a nice wind with me, I could hit a driver across that river. We're right there. You get the point. What longtime national college football writer Dennis Dodd is reporting is that the University of Memphis could get a Pac-12 invitation. Brett McMurphy, Action Network, has also listed Memphis as a possible Pac-12 target. Big bet, Bennett. You want Memphis in the Pac-12? This makes sense to you?
I want Memphis to be. I think there's 2 things that I want for Memphis athletics. Mm-hmm. One, I want to be in the conference that gives them the best possible chance to be in the college football playoff every year. I want that.
Okay. In fairness, that might be the AAC. But continue.
Yeah. Well, that's where okay. I'm going with this. Right. The other is I want to be in a conference that is competitive in basketball because basketball matters so much here. Mm-hmm. We are not that right now. I don't think. I don't think. So back to the football thing. Which one gives them the better chance of getting in the college football playoff every year? Is it the AAC? Is it this new version of the Pac-12? I'm not so sure.
I actually think I am pretty sure it would be the AAC. If that's what you're saying, like we're running a football program. Yeah. What's our easiest path? Easier path, preferred path to a college football playoff? It's probably trying to win an inferior football league. The AAC would be that relative to this new version of the Pac-12. Yep. And as long as you're the best of the group of 5, then you're going to get a spot. And then it just means you wouldn't have to win the Pac-12. You just have to win your league and then be regarded more highly than whoever your Pac-12 champion is.
Yeah, the other 2 things that are important are TV deal and how much money does Memphis get out of this whole thing? Like what's the pot looking like in this conference?
And that's a good point and probably evidence that I set you up in a bad situation there because I'm asking you like this? And the reasonable answer to what do you think Memphis should do? If it was like, I need to know more. We got to know what the money looks like, how much we're spending to get out. What does a new Pac-12 television deal look like? Who else might be coming? So right now there's way more questions than answers, but on a very surface level, it feels like this is one of those deals where by the time we get all the answers and get to the end of it, I'm not sure it makes sense for the Pac-12, and I'm not sure it makes sense for the University of Memphis. There are certain situations where you go, man, this would be a blessing for Memphis, or man, this league should 100% do that.
Because on paper, I would rather play those schools than the schools I'm playing now.
But it's not as simple as that, as you know.
Right.
This is one where I'm not – if the Pac-12 called me and said, do you think Memphis makes sense for us? I'd say, I don't know. What are your other options? And if the University of Memphis called me and said, the Pac-12 is interested in us, does this make sense for us? I'd say, I don't know. I need to know more. Because though the Pac-12 – sounds big.
Yeah, big brand,
and clearly Washington State, Oregon State, Boise State.
San Diego State in basketball.
These are bigger brands and better athletic departments than the athletic departments that are currently filling up the AAC. So there is no question that if you could just snap your fingers and say, we want to be in a league with those schools instead of a league with these schools, let's do it. You would do it. Mm-hmm. It's not that simple. You would have to pay to leave the AAC. How much is that? Do you have it? Can you get it? If it was worth doing, absolutely they would. Honestly, FedEx would probably write another check just to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So if it's worth doing, they'll figure out how to do it. But you do have to figure out exactly what it looks like to leave. And even if that's not a problem, here's my fear. This would be my hesitation if I were running the University of Memphis. You leave one non-Power 4 conference for what will be another non-Power 4 conference. Just because the Pac-12 used to be a Power 5 league doesn't mean it will be a Power 5 league again. I'm sure they hope they can get there, but all of the reporting right now is that whatever the new Pac-12 looks like, it will be grouped with the AAC and the Mountain West and the Sun Belt and CUSA, not with the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12. So if you're Memphis, this would be my hesitation. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it if presented with an opportunity. What I'm telling you is this would be my hesitation. You pay whatever you got to pay to get out of the AAC. You get all ready to move. You sign a new deal with the Pac-12 that locks you into that, mm-hmm. making it where you can't ever leave that without major penalties as well. And then the ACC blows up, and you're sitting there, and the ACC is like, hey, man, we need you now. Mm-hmm. And you're like, it'll cost us $1 billion
to get out of
this. You could end up like you move down the street, but in the same neighborhood. I know geographically it's not, but you get the point.
Yes.
In the tiers of college athletics, this would not be the equivalent of moving from one neighborhood to an undeniably and incredibly better neighborhood. In terms of college athletics tiers, this would be you moving from a nice house in this neighborhood to a nicer house, but kind of, for the most part, the same neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You ain't really jumping up. If we're saying the line of everything is, are you Power 4 or not, this would be Memphis making a move, but not actually making the same type of move that UCF has made, that Houston has made, that SMU has made by going from this side of the rope to that side of the rope. You'd be in a better house, surrounded by better people, but you'd be on still the opposite side of the rope of Tennessee, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, all of the other Power 4 institutions. Is that worth doing? Maybe, because there's another perspective on this, a counterpoint where you go, buddy, we're tired of waiting around on the Big 12 and the ACC and one of these Power 4 schools, conferences to invite us. We've been talking about it for 30 years. They don't ever invite us. Yep. They flirt with us. There's reporting that they're interested in us. But when it's time to hand out that rose, they don't hand it to us ever. So why are we going to sit around waiting on that again? Mm-hmm. If the Pac-12 actually wants us and we could be in a league with schools that care about athletics similarly to the way that we care about athletics, to brands that resonate nationally the way our brand we think resonates nationally, then that's where we're going to be. So yeah. I can argue both sides of it. I think you need to have more information.
Because the other thing, too, is you've got, like, this sounds insane to say, but, like, what if Tulane and USF go to the Pac-12 and you decided to stay behind? Like, oh, my God, this conference just got so much worse again. And we're stuck here. So I can understand wanting to upgrade as fast as possible. All due respect, I saw the AAC might be looking to like Air Force or something like that. All due respect, I love our troops, our service academies. Like, I don't. As far as athletics go, I just don't value those schools in our conference. I just don't. No. It doesn't do anything for you.
Air Force is a brand.
Yeah.
It's not a strong athletic program.
Right.
Understandably so. Do you know how difficult it is to get people into the Air Force Academy?
Right.
Like, I did a story, and somebody Google it. Like, I did a story several years ago now, where I described and explained why Air Force is the hardest men's college basketball job in the country, because it is the only college basketball job in the country where you are in a league with a bunch of schools that don't operate like you at all. Like you're in a league with UNLV. That's a big basketball brand, even if it hadn't been great lately.
Sure.
At Air Force, first off, take the top 500 high school players in the country. The only ones you can even recruit are ones who are interested in joining the Air Force Academy. All right? So that's almost none. And then if you actually have one who wants to be there, they've got to pass all these different tests and everything else just to be signed off on.
Yeah.
The coach at the time, Dave Pilipovich, told me they had just luckily identified a legitimate Mountain West Conference player, like somebody who UNLV might really recruit this type of guy. They had found him. And incredibly, he wanted to be a pilot. That was his dream. He wanted to join the Air Force Academy. So they were like, man, this is like a blessing from God. Where'd this guy come from? A 6'7" wing who can really play, and he wants to be a pilot? He had asthma. They wouldn't enroll him.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Because he had asthma. They wouldn't admit him. Because that's a condition that if you're going where they want you to go, it's going to be a problem. That's how hard that job is.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm not interested in bringing that into a league with Memphis. So I hate to be so nuanced. I've seen some people this morning say, if you can do it, join the Pac-12, you got to. And I've seen other people say, no, it'd be crazy to do that because it's just a little bit better than a lateral move. I can argue both sides of this.
Yeah.
I would need to have more information. The other side of it is from the Pac-12's perspective. Would it make sense for them? And that's where I'm not so sure either, unless some other things that certainly are more geographically sensible just can't make sense for whatever reason. I do think it's notable that when the Pac-12 announces we're bringing in 4 Mountain West Conference schools, UNLV is not one of them. Because on a surface level, that doesn't make much sense. Think about this. The NFL wanted to get into Las Vegas, and it did. The NHL wanted to get into Las Vegas, and it did. The NBA wants to get into Las Vegas, and it will. Major League Baseball wants to get into Las Vegas, and it's going to. UNLV uses a $2 billion football stadium. They have a $36 million football-only practice facility. Thomas and Mack is a perfectly fine college basketball arena. UNLV still matters in Las Vegas. If every professional sports league and conference tournaments and everything else, if every sports entity in America wants to have some kind of hold in Las Vegas, if you're the Pac-12 trying to rebuild, why wouldn't you bring in Las Vegas?
Very confused by that. I mean, you had your media days there, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Your conference tournament there, everything. So I reached out to a couple people because I was like, there's got to be a reason. I just am unclear what it is. And among the things I ran into, and I don't know which of these are true. I don't know if any of these are true, but like it makes no sense on a surface level UNLV doesn't get that phone call. I know that UNLV hasn't been as good in basketball recently as, say, San Diego State, and hasn't been as good in football probably ever as Boise State. But the same reason the NBA recognizes the potential of Las Vegas, and the NHL recognizes the potential of Las Vegas. It would make sense to me if you're a conference commissioner with a West Coast-based league, you would identify the potential of UNLV and almost disregard what UNLV has been recently. Just say, this is something we can tap into and build into something great. Everything we need to be great is here. Let's lift them up, make them great. Then we've got one of the great athletic programs in the country in one of the great cities in this nation. So why didn't they do that? There's two theories I heard and read. I did a lot of reading and texting, and two theories. One would be the Pac-12. This all happened, I don't know if it happened quickly, but it certainly happened abruptly. Like the first reports were like, the first time you heard anything about the Pac-12 adding Mountain West Conference schools was late last night. And this morning it's done. So I don't know if it happened quickly. These things have probably been happening behind the scenes quietly, but it went from A to B really abruptly. There's some thought that UNLV was hesitant to commit to it yet because they think they might be an option for, say, the Big 12. Brett Yormark just famously tried to get Gonzaga, couldn't get it done. Tried to get UConn, couldn't get it done. What if the next move is he makes the same case to the Big 12 presidents that I just made about Las Vegas as a place? Everybody wants to be there. NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA. Why wouldn't we want to be there? Let's not be stupid about this. So there's some thought that UNLV would be hesitant to commit to a new Pac-12 if they've been behind the scenes talking to the Big 12 in any capacity. All right. The other one would be the state of Nevada has made it clear to UNLV, we're going to make it very hard for you to leave a conference that also includes Nevada. So if the Pac-12 wants you and you want to go, you better figure out how to convince them to take Nevada with you, or else we will, in whatever way we can, stand in the way of that. Again, I don't know if any of that's true. It's just when something doesn't make sense on a surface level, the best thing you can do is start going, okay, well, what would be
that makes a lot of sense.
What would be an explanation for this?
It's almost like USC and UCLA. Like, this is a package deal. Duke, North Carolina.
If you're taking one of us,
that makes
you're
sense.
going to take both of us, right? Remember Oklahoma State? This was part of the controversy when they split apart. Texas A&M, when they split apart temporarily. So there's some thought that maybe the state of Nevada is playing a role in this. Either way, my best guess at this point would be there's going to be more sensible options for this new look Pac-12 than the University of Memphis. I don't doubt that Memphis is on the list, just like Memphis is always on the list of something.
Right.
But it's one of those deals that, based on what we know right now, I'm not 100% sure Memphis makes sense for the new Pac-12. I'm not 100% sure the new Pac-12 makes sense for the University of Memphis.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.